You guys aren't going to believe this. After my accident in 235.
You all right?
Yeah, like literally landed fine, and it hooked left, and it took all I had to keep it level, because it wanted to flip. So after the accident in 235, I had an FAA investigator personally deliver a letter and let me know that I was busted. Welcome back to Rebuild Rescue. Guys, we're here today with the 235. Joe stopped over. We're gonna rip this thing apart and figure out what all's broken. It was a crazy incident. I'm really looking forward to seeing, can we save this thing? Is it okay? Is the firewall really okay?
You're running out of airplanes, man. You gotta stop doing it.
Ooh. Something that Joe was referring to is when the other Joe was off with the Escalade and our trailer moving his toolbox, he got into an accident the same week. Let's take a look.
Well, here we are one day after work, coming down the road, sitting, waiting for a couple people to turn, and got hit in the trailer, drove through the trailer, through the truck sideways, and into the door. But wait for the best part. I was thinking, hey, we might actually be drivable and be able to make it back. Well, it didn't work out so well. Toolbox is thrown up to the front right of the trailer. I haven't been able to get in the trailer to see if there's any damage to it. And there's the big kicker. Hole through the hatch, through the bumper and license plate, bent the receiver. Oh, there's the lock to the tongue of the trailer. So, yeah, kind of an interesting night here.
The good news is Joe is fine, and the lady that had rear-ended him, she's okay as well, and the cars can be replaced, just like airplanes. But we got to fix this one. So
yeah, let's get fixed.
Yeah, we'll fix this one. I wanted to take a minute and introduce today's video sponsor, Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving derived from an aerospace machine shop that after 2020 had to make some changes. They started making razors, and I'm glad they did, because this thing's amazing. Aerospace aluminum, all sustainable with very low waste, and this thing is sharp. The razor is made using CNC machines to aerospace standards. The blade only extends past the shave plane about 13 thousandths of an inch, which is less than the thickness of a human hair. Another benefit of this precision is that it allows a razor to hold the blade at an optimal 30-degree angle. That really takes a lot of guesswork out of how to shave with it, and gives the ease of use that multi-blade cartridge users would expect, without the waste and the cost. And did I mention this razor was built in an aerospace shop? Huh, I've never had a space razor. One of the biggest differences I noticed when using the Henson AL13 is the razor doesn't clog. Now you'd think with a single-edged razor that this would clog, it wouldn't cut, but it cuts really well, it cuts really clean, and I have no razor burn. I've never used a single-edged blade, and man, I'm actually really impressed with its performance, how much it doesn't clog, and how well of a job it does by giving you such a clean and smooth shave. So if you want to get a great shave and be responsible to the environment, plus save money, get a Henson AL13. Now, let's get back to 235. So today, Joe and I are going to go ahead. We're going to have to overhaul this engine. We don't know if the crank's good or bad. We'll dial it out. We're going to check the firewall. We're going to check the mounts. We're going to check everything in this airplane, even all the stuff going all the way back to the rudders. We're going to check the pedals. I'm sure I bent them with my feet. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, well, we got a lot to look at. That's for sure.
Like a lot
to look at, and a lot to take on.
But luckily, Joe knows these pipers
pretty well.
And he also knows Cessnas. In fact, we think Joe figured out where that piece of metal came from. So as it turns out, here's the piece of metal. And Joe, if you could explain.
So I'm assuming at one point it was used as a spark plug cleaner. They were using it to clean out spark plugs, probably longer. Then somebody needed a hinge pin for a door. Cessna door, put a little bend on it, and it replaces your hinge pin. And if it works its way out and finds its way to your tire,
then that's
you're
it.
the unlucky guy that found it.
And this is actually the exact size of the metal that a Cessna uses for a hinge pin. I've seen multiple different times. I mean, I think you're 100% right. I mean, I've seen multiple times where people will just take a piece of metal and that's a new hinge pin. I really wish someone just would have got the right pin and not left this sharp object, falling out of an airplane, because now that's cost me a lot of money. No sharpening stuff and leaving it lay around airports, please.
Yeah.
And all joking aside, it could have been like really, really bad.
It could have been bad.
Yeah,
Very bad.
It could have been really bad. I think I was really lucky. So, all right, without further ado, let's get at it.
All right.
One more screw.
He's even got dirt inside of there.
Holy crap. All right.
You need a bigger wrench.
Bigger wrench. Got it? Much better. Well, I can tell you the bolt is bent.
Yeah.
So we're going to need 4 new bolts for sure. Well, I guess after any type of a prop strike, you should replace all this stuff anyway.
Yeah. You need 6, though. If you only put that on with 4, it'd be a bad idea.
Did I say 4 new bolts?
You did. But we're going to put 6 on.
6. Well, maybe just this once. Well, she came off pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Look, it's like it has like a wheel spacer in there.
Yep.
Yeah, so if any of you guys have a fixed pitch prop that you want to get rid of, or maybe even like donate to the 235, I wouldn't be against it.
Because he's going to hang this one on the wall.
Yeah, this is definitely going on the wall.
I think it's crazy the ground can bend the prop that much. Like, that is thick metal.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
thick, strong metal, but it's bent at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, there was a lot of weight.
It's got a lot of weight pushing on it. It'll bend it right
weight.
over.
True.
So looking at this crank flange, I'm thinking, is the crank bent? So what do you guys think? Does this thing look bent, or does this look straight?
If you look at it sideways, it looks bent.
I think you can look at it anyways. It looks bent.
What's closer down here?
I can
than
see
goes
it.
up
Yeah,
there?
no, like I can see it clearly. I can tell you this crank is not okay. Unfortunately, it is kind of tough to get a 540 crank. I haven't seen many around. I think they're used, refurbished. I think they're $8 or $9 grand.
I could believe it.
One of the nice things about being able to pull this thing all apart and get it all rebuilt, we're going to get to look at a lot of the components, well, pretty much all the components of the 235 engine here. And I can see it's a little bit of an exhaust leak recently. It was about time for this thing to be overhauled either way. And I know it's going to run a lot better. We're definitely going to do the 250 horse STC, which brings it up to 250 horse. Every engine I pull apart, we always have them balanced, flowed, all the cylinders and port matched. We put a better valve job than a single angle. We'll go with a 3-angle valve job, and the engine should probably make another, say, I don't know, 30 horse over the 250 even. So it should be about a 280 horse
The good thing is the engine does turn all the way over. Now let's see. Man, that crankshaft's bent. Let's see how bent the crank is. Let's see how far out this crankshaft. What's your guess, Joe?
I'm not really sure.
There's a washer there.
35 thousandths, maybe more. I don't. It's way out.
All right, so that should be 0. You're right there's a little under 5 right there. Let's see what the face of it.
There it goes.
Oh my gosh.
50. Wow. Oh.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it went like all the way around.
Still going.
Oh my.
All right, so that was the face of the crankshaft flange. Wow, so it was only off on the outside of the flange
Well, that's this way.
by 5 thousandths.
But face-wise,
But the face was off by
all of it.
20, 30 thousandths, right? No,
No,
a lot.
Right.
So the
100.
face was off by like a lot, 300 thousandths.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got that side down. There it goes. There it goes. Poor new muffler. You smashed it. He managed to bend his bracket air filter up pretty good though.
This unit was actually just installed during the last annual. Pretty much new, but I'm going to send it back to SureFly and have them go over it and make sure it tests out okay, obviously. You know, obviously on this we're going to do a complete overhaul anyway, so every component is either replaced, inspected, and or rebuilt, overhauled. It'd be nice too, getting all these hoses all replaced. A couple of the hoses I grabbed had a nice crunching feeling to them, so you know they were shot. You can always tell when it's been a long while since overhaul. That's the breather tube and the grungy oil that was stuck in it. So we'll actually replace all those hoses, everything will all get cleaned up. I'm really looking forward to it because this 235 is like a really nice airplane. It was in really good shape, so it'll be nice to make it as nice from the firewall forward as it was from the firewall back, and maybe put a new panel in it. We'll probably at some point end up selling it then. So, I don't know, one of you guys might be flying it. Just make sure you check for screws and stuff on the runway. It's even got mud in the airbox. Well, soon enough, it'll be all new and everything freshly cleaned, all shiny, just in time to get it all dirty again. Just in time for Joe and I to make a couple laps in the pattern. Right, Joe?
Which Joe?
You, Joe.
I don't know, Joe. There's another Joe around here.
He's like, if it's not a CT70, I'm out.
Okay, let's go, buddy.
You have that,
I got everything in the way.
yeah, in the
Got
way.
the oil thing in the way, and a throttle cable in the way, and that's ridiculous. Oh, is that what it is? A fucking little studs coming out? Ah, got it.
Didn't know it was coming. I knew it was going to surprise us. All right. Yeah, it's actually a pretty heavy assembly.
Looks like a nice big chunk of metal.
Yeah, dirty, oily metal with bent up parts. I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Gonna make more oil mess?
Going to in a second.
Yep.
All right, so it looks like we have.
Everything on my side, not everything on your side. I know you're trying to go there, but you still got a clamp over here. I'm gonna ruin it again for you.
He didn't look at it close enough. If he looks at it again, he'll see the answer.
Oh, it is unclamped. Okay.
It's okay.
You took
It's
it off
all
of
right.
there.
We're,
What'd you take
we're
it off of
patient with
there
the old
for?
people around here.
What do you take it off of there for?
Especially,
Oh, wait.
especially my dad Joe over here.
I can't wait to beat his ass in disc golf. That's all I can tell you.
Disc golf.
Show him how old.
And
people
right,
are.
he's like halfway a pro disc golfer. That's what he wants to challenge me in.
But, hey, I'll
We'll
tell you
arm
any
wrestle
sport.
at every hole.
Okay. You can do that.
You can use both hands.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess it's ready to come off, right?
Yes,
I mean, even my side's ready.
it is ready. I'll give you that. It is. I thought the one clamp was still on there, but it's not.
That was my secret plan
lever
I
there.
had. Unhook the wire at one point and
Make
not
it
the
look
other.
like it's still there.
All right, well, I think we can get these, let's get the engine hoist over here, and we'll go ahead and hook it up, take the 4 bolts out, we can get it off, hook this up to the engine stand, and it's ready to get taken apart.
Yep.
Just fits.
All right,
Yeah, we're gonna have a couple problems.
okay.
This one over here is bent, so you can't even get a socket in it.
Oh, look at that.
You may end up just having to cut it off.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
You might even win a burnout contest with that.
Actually, it completely and utterly killed the blade.
Wow, the rubber did?
Well, no. There's a bolt in there, but what else is in there?
Oh, the sleeve.
There's a sleeve, and that's a hardened sleeve.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so we're not going to do that.
He's right. That was a hell of a burnout, though, man.
Yeah.
It stinks here now.
That was much easier. All right. What really stinks is these were brand new.
Now it smells like burnt cat food.
I burnt cat food. Yeah, so any of these bolts, any of the, like I said, everything from the firewall forward that we're removing for the most part, except for maybe some clamps or a piece or two, we're going to replace them all anyway. So every nut, bolt, washer up here, all these engine mounts, So cutting through them, not really a big deal. Actually, it would have been a lot quicker if we just cut through everything.
Yeah, no.
All right, you want to get that one out? I'll jack this up.
This one is out.
That's the sleeve.
Yeah, that's what was just like rotating in there.
That saw's not going to go through that thing.
All right, let's take a look back here.
We got one more clamp. We got our mixture and
I don't know whose side that was. I don't know.
That's underside. That was nobody's side.
Lower it down a little bit for the.
No, we're all right. Oh, still you got it.
Give me 1 second here.
The whole thing should just go down here.
Whoa, we have this here yet.
Well, that ain't no good anyhow. It's junk anyhow.
What do you mean they're no good when they're like that?
It cooked itself apart.
Well,
Engine swinging.
engine is swinging.
We just don't know which way, right?
All right, get these plugs back in here. Just so there's some plugs in there, I don't really have a really good reason, to be honest with you. All right, so we got the engine off the 235. Now we got to get that engine mount off, which is what? There's bolts up behind the dash. Wow, they're really up behind the dash.
Way behind the dash. In the little channels. You'll find it's quite interesting.
All right, so we got to get the rest of the stuff off the firewall. We got to get this engine mount off, and then we kind of got to inspect it. But if you look at it from here, Joe, I don't see anything really concerning. Again, there's just this little ding right here that is about the size of a dime.
Yeah, that's not a worry. That's not going to bother it. And you didn't do anything underneath, which is usually what happens.
Yeah.
Usually you put a hole underneath.
Yeah, kind of lucked out. Other
Yes.
than it looks like the heat exchange box
Yeah.
needs some attention. Obviously, the whole front end. Hopefully, I can find just a whole,
Mount.
whole mount. And the other thing I'm looking at too is like some of the wiring here is like
Yeah, pretty shabby.
way old. So would you replace this wiring? I mean, this is
I
your
would-
P
I
leads,
would.
right?
I would at this point. I mean, where I'm at now, even your alternator wire is like old and decrepit.
Yeah,
This is your power to everything in your ship.
yeah, my goodness,
Like,
yeah, and that doesn't look
taped
good.
up.
And I'll bet you these, I bet you these here are the old aluminum.
Yes.
Literally the day after my accident with the 235, I got a phone call from an FAA investigator. He wanted to take a look at my pilot logbooks and the 235 maintenance records. He actually wanted to look at them so bad, he came over to my house on a Sunday, and they pretty much confiscated all my logbooks because they wanted to go through them. I didn't know if that was normal practice, but I really wanted to help the investigators, learn whatever they could from my incident, just in case it was something other than the flat tire that it turned out to be. They did take a look at the airframe. They reviewed all kinds of pieces, all kinds of parts on it. They took things apart. They went over it with a fine-tooth comb. That is when they did find the issue with the tire. And they looked it over and couldn't really find anything else. Well, until they went into the logbooks. They went into the logbooks and they went through, and now all my logbooks have like tons of notes with possible discrepancies. As it turns out, there was some airworthiness directives that weren't followed up on. So they let me know, they said, hey, there's some ADs that weren't complied with, that were missed by actually multiple mechanics. There's discrepancies and there's a problem. The cool thing is they sat down, we spent a lot of time going over a lot of the rules and what it really means to me. And I wanted to take a minute in this video and I wanted to share that with you guys so you guys know any AD in any airplane that you own and or operate, and especially if you work on one, if you're a mechanic, you are responsible. Each and every person is responsible for those ADs, but that responsibility doesn't stop with one person. It's everybody's responsibility. When they came in, they were great guys. I learned a bunch from both of the gentlemen that were out here, and was really thankful. They spent hours with me going over the FAR aims, going over my logbooks, explaining what to look for. And one of the things I realized, I have a ton of work to do, because any of the airplanes that we have here, I need to know those logbooks in and out. So guys, if you have an airplane, make sure that you know what the ADs are. Make sure you're up on the logs. They are your responsibility, because at the end of the day, as an owner-operator or as an owner, you're responsible. Got to get it done. Don't be like me and not know that some were missing and have to have an investor. You know, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are going to see the title and are going to see, you know, FAA busted. You know, the fact is the FAA is here for a reason. All of our safety is their responsibility. The last thing we want to have happen is some kind of major accident. So guys, the bottom line is the FAA is here to help us out. They don't have the easiest job. It's very important you guys know your logbooks, know your airplanes, talk to your mechanics, talk to your APIAs, just have some conversations and know there's a lot of responsibility that we have for the safety of ourselves and the safety of others. So make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button, and thank you so much for coming along in the adventure that is Rebuild Rescue. Take care.